Okay, so when you're in the home and you've washed the window, let's say you've washed this sliding glass door, then you're going to want to do the tracks. On these type of tracks where the windows slide side to side, they can be a little more difficult to clean. Typically, you want to come in here with your little scrubbing brush, brush it, vacuum it, and then wipe it. But if it's just a free wipe down, I'm just going to wipe it down with my rag. And that's going to get most of the stuff. And then I usually use my paint key to kind of wrap it around the end here to get underneath, because it's really hard to get your finger down in there. So I use that to scrub in there nice and good. As you can see, it actually got some pretty nasty stuff there. That's probably the easiest way that I know how to do that if you're just doing the free wipe down, because you're only going to do so much work on a free wipe down. If they want like a full-on ultimate cleaning of their tracks, then they're going to have to pay more. That's going to take a lot more time, just brushing and vacuuming and then wiping it out like this. So these are a very handy tool for any kind of track cleaning. It's going to save your finger. Sometimes there's stuff in here and your finger gets jabbed and stuck. This will prevent that. Also allows you to get up under there better. This one has like a little slide bar here. That makes it a little harder to get down in there. If I really wanted to get aggressive, I could wrap that in there and hook it down there and slide it side to side. That seems to be working pretty good. That looks pretty good actually. So that's my recommendation on that. Then of course, your rag's going to be all nasty. It's really important that you don't let this stuff just fall on their floor. So you want to try to bundle it up. And then I usually put it back here in my pouch, where I put my rags. And that's what I do when I'm cleaning the tracks inside the home. And then at the end, of course, I empty all that out when I go back outside. That way you're not dropping all the crud on their floors or wherever the windows happen to be. Now be sure that, once you've cleaned one side, that you open the door and do the other side as well. And in fact, you might prefer to actually clean this side first, whether it's a window or a sliding glass door. You might want to go ahead and just open it up and clean that side first, and then close the door and clean this side. Sometimes when a window or a door is sliding back and forth, there's a little bit of debris that can get stuck under here. So you don't want to clean this side, open it up, clean that side, close it, and now you're having to re-clean this side all over again. You're not gonna want to pull the door out to clean the tracks. You don't want to pull out the window to clean the tracks unless your customer specifically asks for that. Do not do that. And some tracks have little inserts here that you can pull out and then clean underneath that as well. If your customer is going to ask you to do any of that extra stuff, you're going to want to charge a lot more money, because that's going to take a lot of time and energy. It's going to slow you down, and you want it to be worth your while. You want it to be profitable. If they are going to ask you to brush and vacuum, I charge $50 in addition to everything else. I charge $50 for the house. That's just like my flat rate. You might have to negotiate a higher rate if it's just an insane amount of windows for a house, or like it's a mansion, or the home has like 50 windows. I would probably double that cost to $100 to vacuum and brush all the tracks in the house. But for a standard home that has, let's say, 20 to 30, maybe 40 windows, I'm just going to charge $50, because a lot of the tracks aren't going to be super filthy anyways. It's still going to be mostly just like wiping it down. But there are going to be a few tracks that really do need to be brushed and vacuumed. And then once again, if they're asking you to pull out, like I would never even pull out a sliding glass door. I wouldn't even bother doing that. But if they ask you to pull out like the windows and then pull out the plastic inserts, you definitely want to charge more money for that. So I would charge, in addition to the $50 for brushing and vacuuming, I'd probably charge another $1 just for pulling out the glass and pulling out the plastic inserts to clean out that. You want to figure out what's a good price for you. Okay, so if you are going to actually do the full service of the tracks, you're going to want to brush them and vacuum the tracks. You want somewhat of a small detailing brush like this to really get in the grooves here. You don't really want to have all your window cleaning gear. I just happen to have it on me right now as I'm doing this video, but typically you would leave all your other window cleaning gear, like your bucket here, your washing wand and everything. You can detach it if you have a detachable clip. You leave that stuff outside. You do want to bring in your pouch with your rags and your bottled water, because you are going to need some water for the process. But basically, you're going to scrub in the tracks really good. These tracks actually aren't very dirty, so this actually doesn't need this. But for demonstration purposes, you're going to give it a good scrub down, get in the corners good. Make sure you're getting all the dirt really nice and loose, so that you can then come through with your vacuum and then just turn it on, suck it out. I'm not going to turn it on because it's pretty loud, but you can then go ahead and then just suck out the track. It's nice if you have the attachment. I don't have mine on at the moment, but the attachment that narrows down into a point. That's a nice feature to have. You definitely want that. So once you've brushed, you've vacuumed, then you want to go ahead and do the other side as well. Brush and vacuum that side. And then you want to go ahead and get out your rag and your detailing key, or your painting key for detailing the tracks, so that you can get in here. You want to make sure this rag is all wet. This one's not wet at the moment, but get it wet, get it in here. So I guess demonstration purposes here, get out this bottle. You can squirt that in there if you need to. Wipe it down. Look at that, it's already getting some dirt there. And then put your key in there, scrub in the cracks here, get underneath the rod. Kind of showed you that already, but just to give you a full demonstration. And that's how I would go about doing the deep cleaning of the tracks. You really want to pay attention to the corners and really get in there nice and good. Really try to give it your best. I mean, it's not going to be like brand new out of the factory. It's never going to be like that, right? The windows are never going to be perfect to that extent, because your tools and your equipment's only going to get so good in terms of getting in every little crack. But you definitely want to give it your best. Make it as nice as possible. Your customer's going to appreciate it. If you do a great job, the customer's going to give you referrals. They're going to refer you to people. So always do your best work. That's pretty much it for doing the tracks. The one thing I would say is that if you are going to, what I call it is, I say, well, when I'm on the phone with them when they're scheduling, I say, I tell them that my service comes with windows, tracks, and sills, and that it's a free basic wipe down of the tracks. And then I ask them, are your tracks really dirty? Do you feel like they need to be brushed and vacuumed to get the deep clean? I call it the deep clean. And then if they say yes, then I say, well, it's an extra $50 for the whole house to brush and vacuum. So ask that up front before you come to the house. Always ask up front over the phone when you're scheduling. And then when you do come to the house, the best bet is if they've decided to do the brushing and vacuuming, do that before you even clean the outside of the house. Come inside the home, brush and vacuum all the tracks, wipe them down, then go out and start cleaning the outside of the windows. When you're done cleaning the outside of the windows, come in and clean the inside. And the reason why you want to do that is because if there is a lot of debris in here, a lot of dirt, when you're washing the outside of the windows, the water is going to go down the back side of the window here, and it will come in underneath this crack here and come down into the track somewhat. And so if it's really dirty, that's going to turn into mud. Then you're going to come inside and try to brush and vacuum that. It's just a pain. So you want to try to get all that dirt and stuff while it's dry, not when it's wet. So brush and vacuum before you start cleaning the outside of the home. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you from a lot of headache. And the reason I know that is from experience. I've done it myself. I've done it both ways. And every time that I clean the outside first of the home and come in to brush and vacuum, it's always muddy, and it just doesn't. This is going to get all sopping wet and gross. It just doesn't brush very good at that point. The vacuum doesn't suck it up as well. So always brush and vacuum before you clean the outside of the home.